A single bolt of white lightning split the peak of Flower Fruit Mountain. The thunder followed, a sound so violent it cracked the stone from the inside out. Fragments of rock rained down like shrapnel. Then I, Wukong, stepped out of the fissure, my lungs filling with the cold air of the summit. There were no parents, no guidance, only the raw vibration of the earth beneath my feet. I climbed to the highest ridge and watched the clouds. I did not just look at them. I reached out, caught the vapor, and stepped onto the mist. It held my weight. I learned to fold my body into 72 different shapes, testing the limits of muscle and bone. I shifted from bird to tiger, from stone to wind, each change a rapid pulse of energy. The forest below felt like a cage. Every tree was too short, every valley too narrow to contain the speed growing in my blood. I leaped, and the world blurred into a streak of green and gray. I had arrived, and the mountain was already too small to hold me. The title of stable boy was an insult I refused to wear, so I let the celestial horses bolt into the void and turned my attention to the gardens. I tore through the rows of heavy, glowing peaches, devouring them until the nectar dripped from my chin. I found the alchemy furnace, smashed the lids, and swallowed the pills of life like common grain. My skin began to harden. It shifted, turning cold and impenetrable as diamond under the celestial sun. When the alarm finally sounded, 10,000 soldiers swarmed the gates. I did not run. I pulled my staff from my ear and watched it grow until it spanned the horizon. I swung it in a single, devastating arc that shattered the front line of the celestial order. Shields splintered. Spears snapped like dry twigs. I stood in the center of the wreckage, my staff grounded, the air humming with the weight of my defiance. The soldiers hesitated. I stepped forward, the ground cracking under my heels, ready to tear the sky asunder. And as I walked past the broken remnants of the palace gates, I climbed the steps to the Jade Emperor's throne. I sat, the heavy wood and gold groaning under my weight. I did not watch the sky for reinforcements. I waited for the end of the world to arrive at my feet, but it did not come with soldiers. The air grew heavy, thick, with a scent of incense and silence. Buddha stood in the center of the hall, his presence dwarfing the architecture of the heavens. He did not draw a weapon. He simply looked at the seat of power and smiled. "You claim the heavens as your own," he said, his voice vibrating through the floorboards. "If you can leap to the edge of my palm, the throne is yours." It was a simple challenge, a game for a child. I laughed, a sharp, jagged sound that echoed off the pillars and filled the palace. I stood, grounded my feet, and launched myself into the blue expanse, the wind tearing at my fur. Space stretched, bending under the sheer force of my momentum. I saw the horizon of the universe ahead. I was faster than the light itself. The mountain did not just crumble. It exploded outward in a storm of dust and splintered rock. 5 centuries of darkness vanished in a heartbeat. When I clawed my way into the light, my muscles stiff, my joints screaming with the memory of stillness. I expected a fight. I expected the heavens to fall. Instead, I found a man in robes standing on the path. Tripitaka approached without fear, pulling a golden ring from his satchel. Before I could coil my legs to leap, the monk forced the metal band onto my head. It tightened, biting into my skull like a vice. When the monk began to chant, the ring hissed, sending a spike of agony through my brain that brought me to my knees. The first demon we met was a trivial thing, but the monk's rhythmic droning turned the act of killing into a chore. For 14 years, the cycle held. Every strike of the staff was measured by the cadence of those prayers. The chant was a constant, grinding friction against my spirit, wearing down the diamond-hard edge of my defiance until every demon I crushed felt like another piece of myself being hammered away. The chanting stopped. It did not fade into the distance. It simply ceased to exist It left a void where the rhythm had lived for 14 years. I walked until the borders of the world blurred, leaving the temples and the holy mountains far behind. I turned my back on the heavens and the hells alike, and climbed until the air grew thin and the scent of the pine and damp earth returned. Flower Fruit Mountain stood exactly as I had left it. Indifferent to the centuries, I sat on the highest cliff edge and watched the clouds drift through the valley below. The silence of the peaks was heavy, yet it did not press against my mind like the monk's prayers had. I reached up, my fingers brushing the cold, unyielding metal of the ring still locked around his skull. It remained a permanent scar, a reminder of the path I had walked. But the magic within the gold had gone dormant. I was no longer a servant, no longer a weapon, and no longer a captive. I sat, motionless, waiting for the wind to shift. If you climb these cliffs, bring a flask of wine. Do not call me a hero. Call me the one who almost broke the heavens and the world.
Love this myth? Prove it. Smash like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, or the next legend stays hidden. From epic mythos unveiled. Thanks for watching.